Hello and welcome to the Ramon Foster Show. Cue sad music, sad.
Or the dun 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 dun.
I mean, Ramon, I think it was. I was just here downtown. I was getting a little bit of a lunch snack across the street from Wiener World on Smithfield Street, and
Okay.
guy asked me, "What's Ramon think of all this?" And I go, well, I'm not one to speak for Ramon, but I can tell you, his name's Denny. I go, Denny, I can tell you that I feel like a lot of us, and maybe Ramon as well, probably reached the point where about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we all just kind of went, oh, so this is it?
Yeah. This is it. This is where we are. I don't think it's long term, but it's a season of this. As I feel like as many tricks have been tried, they have all failed. As many times if you think you got on the right track, guess what? Somebody puts a brick on it and derails you. And that brick was the Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend. Nothing seems to work. Nothing looks positive. I even said it to DK before we came on. Like I'm not sure where I am on Kenny. Not that Kenny's not the guy, but what I'm just saying, I can't really evaluate him the way I need him to actually see what good looks like. I like some of the things that he does. I like some of the things that Najee do too, but I can't even see a whole game of what that looked like. We've had offensively 0 complete games this year. Think about that. Like, that's where I'm going. Passing game working, run game working. Where can you confidently say, even in the 2 wins, yeah, that was a game right there in which they did. Tampa, no, they weren't all together on the same page. Cincinnati, no, weren't all on the same page. Offensively, defensively, or special teams. And I'll just focus in just offensively because that's where a lot of the hope is. I think that's where a lot of the younger natural talent is, I thought. But I'm not seeing it. Like, I could go on and on and on and break like what I'm seeing from each person all the way, DK. But I feel like I'm like every fan right now. Whereas, well, where the hell do we even start if we do start picking out each player?
See, that's the thing. You want to hang your hope on something. You want to say, all right, listen, I can accept they're not going to beat the NFL's only undefeated team.
Yeah.
But give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something that I can watch. Give me someone that I can watch. And I think that's, without speaking for you again, I think that's what you were referring to with Kenny. It's like you want to see and go, all right, well, listen, this is all going bad, but man, look what a bright spot that is, And
yeah, like so Kenny, excuse me, he makes some of the passes you like. He's athletic enough to make teams make him the 11th person on the field, right? As far as his legs go, you turn your back to him, he's going to be a problem. He's tough. I got a feeling that the leadership skills that he has will ultimately show itself as people continue to trust him and he gets over that ledge of being a young guy, right? There's probably a receiver, 2 or a tight end like, hey, you're still a rookie. Like, those conversations happen, right? Because the keys hadn't necessarily been passed over to him. And even for some guys like that, though, right, DK, they still have to play a role as rookie phenoms, top 10 draft picks, whatever. They still have to play a role. And I don't think Kenny's at that point to where he can say, hey, y'all, step this crap up. I will say this. The comments after the game about we're not studying enough.
Hey, that's somebody.
Can I say this? We're not studying enough. There's so much film to be watched, DK. It just is. Listen, it's like that's all the job is for the most part. The physical attributes, whenever you get past that threshold of can you play in this league? Check mark, got that. Are you strong enough in this league? Check mark, got this. Smart enough in this league? Check mark, got that. Then it comes down to the mental side of it, the visual, how you react to it on the field. Me personally, I don't think he was necessarily speaking of the players. I think the only people that he can challenge is the players to say we're not studying enough. I almost look at that as a side shot of, ooh, we're talking about an offense? Like, that may be a shot as the guy calling it or commanding the offense. You know what? I felt that about it more than I actually felt about him going at the actual players in this sense.
I don't know. I mean, you'd know way better than I would, so I'm not in a great position to.
No, my word ain't law, but
I
of
can
course,
tell you that I was in there. I was in the room with Kenny, and the best that I can share to hopefully add some color to it is that most of what he was referring to through the press conference was about the players, and most of his "we" references seemed to be at the players. So, if that helps anybody, everyone's free to make up their own minds.
yeah.
On this
And again,
stuff.
I'm assuming here, so I can be wrong.
Yeah, that I just think that I have a feeling that this young man studies so hard and puts in so much work that, and this is his reputation going back to college and everything else. He does know where everybody's supposed to be, not just where Kenny Pickett's supposed to be. Okay, he does know the playbook. He does know what's supposed to be going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be in a better position than anyone outside the coordinator himself to say in the immediate aftermath of a football game. He just came off the field talking to us in Philly, and he can say, hey, I can tell right now, this guy right here didn't study. This guy right here had no idea where he was supposed to be on that block. This wide receiver had no idea where he was supposed to be running on that route or when he was supposed to come back. No one knows that like the quarterback and the coordinator.
I close my eyes and discuss hearing that a little bit, though.
I know, but what are we, Moan? You've been saying the same thing all year especially about the O-line. You're talking about miscommunications and missed assignments. That stuff is still happening.
But in that case, I got to go above. What are the position coaches doing?
Exactly.
Especially at that spot. What are the position coaches doing? Again, we've been in this spot before as a team in this current era of football in 2013 when we were 2-6 at a point in time. And then you fight back out of it and go 8-8. Really, honestly, hit a hot spot of just reeling off wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this team has the DNA makeup to do that.
No, it doesn't have the players to do it. Come on, Moan, you were part of that team.
Yeah.
You remember who was in that room?
DK, and we're coming up on the end of this segment right here. One thing that we had on that team was voices. Guys that put it, like hard work, rubber to the road. Who's a leader offensively for this team?
We're going to talk about that after this break. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. And, I have a feeling Kenny has already answered your question, Moan.
Oh.
He is the leader of the offense. He has to be the leader of the offense. The quarterback almost always has to be that.
Oh, yeah. In this case, if he's speaking out like this, okay, I can understand that. But where's the reaction to it? Where is that side of it at? At least you be able to ask us questions in the locker room after the fact and be like, yo, so-and-so said there's no, like, where's the reaction to it? To how this group needs to respond. This ain't even an if. It needs to respond, DK. Like, if I'm a guy and you tell me my team isn't studying and I'm giving my all for it and I'm getting blasted in the face as far as hits that I'm taking and you want me to lead y'all and you're not coming with me, man, there's going to be a lot of change that has to happen then. And personnel probably being one of them. Essentially, coaches probably having to be one of them also. If you can't get your players to respond at that position, that sucks. And again, I'll say this too. There's a conversation always of Coach Tomlin getting let go, getting axed. If that's the case, golly, I'd love to see where he goes to next because I feel like he'd be hired unless he go into broadcasting. But this to me seems to be like an offensive identity side of what this team is lacking more than anything. Like, the corners on defense have been solid enough. You need more help up front with the rush. And at this point, too, getting TJ back is almost asking too much of him to be that dynamic of a player, too. Like, it ain't just one player, it's two players. Like, you got players getting embarrassed and two guys on one wide receiver. Like, that doesn't happen. You got, like, that's not this defense. The identity that we have known it to be either has to change or morph into something different or better, or they got to get back to the old ways. I don't see the old ways happening this year, DK.
See, here's the thing, Moan. Leadership isn't anointed. Leadership
No.
isn't okay. Leadership comes first and foremost from performance.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems. I've made this remark a handful of times in the past couple of weeks, and people keep biting my head off over it because they love Najee Harris. But I'm like, I'm sorry. Najee can't be the leader of this offense if he's putting out 30, 40 yards a week. I'm sorry. He can't. He can't. He can be all emotional. He can sit there the way he did yesterday, extra long at the stall and everything else. He's still the guy that had the third most rushing yards in the game behind Kenny and Jaylen Warren.
Yep.
And that's just not going to do it. I really believe, Moan, that the performance has to come first, but that's a really weird horse and wagon argument, isn't it?
As a player, that's essentially it. Well, I guess it's rock and hard place when we're talking about, performance making leaders, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're alluding to. Who's going to be a leader when there's not one person to celebrate? And like this year in general, like Najee's 3.3 a carry at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just where we are, and only one rushing touchdown on the season.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. If I'm a player in that room, no matter how much I love him, I'm not following him because I don't feel like getting tackled after 2 yards either.
Other than you knowing what his draft stock was and
but what's that?
I know, but I'm saying
follow Artie Burns or Jarvis Jones? No, I mean you gotta perform.
You have to perform. So DK, if I was to ask you, where is the lack of performance at? I know. No. I'll start it here.
That's the scariest thing, though.
Because it's really, you said last week that Mason Cole said it's not just, 3 things happening at once. It's, one on a play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looked like that's kind of going into rehab, hadn't it?
Oh, it sure did yesterday. I mean, the Eagles are good.
No. But it's been like this every single week so far, though.
Okay.
It really has. It's been like this every single week where it's this pressure in his face, then it's a wrong route or a guy slipping or a guy falling out of bounds. Or you get a good run and then it's a tackle gives up a leakage through the inside for a linebacker and then a guard gets pushed back and then Najee doesn't hit the hole. You know what I'm saying? Like our most creative play yesterday was to a fullback.
From the left hand of a wide receiver.
And you know what? It should have worked. It needed to work because you know why? Nobody on God's green earth thought Derek Watt was getting a touchdown yesterday.
No, I know.
And I say that respectfully to him because he knew it and the team possibly knew it, but nobody mentioned it. If we run one more wide receiver sweep into the boundary to Deontay or even Chase for that matter, take the book away. Like you're Coach Klein at that point from the Water Boy. Get more creative. Look at puppies. Because it's miserable to look at. I want to go in on the players, but that's miserable to look at, DK.
I know, but do you see what we're doing here, though? We have covered probably 38 different topics in the span of about 10 minutes today. And that's where this team is right now. It's all over creation. The problems are everywhere. And that's why, to swing this back to what we were talking about at the beginning, that's why I respected Kenny bringing up accountability and studying. And because if you at least have that foundation in place or that's put into place, then to something else that you said earlier, you are going to have a clearer picture of what it is that you do or don't have from the performance standpoint, right? Hey, when James Daniels gets shoved back into Kenny, into his solar plexus, that's not a missed assignment, Moan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not him not studying that week. That's him getting his rear end kicked.
You know what, though, DK? In this situation right here, you can study that all day.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, as far as that
Fletcher
position,
Cox doesn't care how much you studied.
Or Javon Hargraves. I saw that. Yeah. With that being said, though, DK, what if they study it and they just not tough enough?
That's what but that's what you need to find out, and that's why I hate to keep making the rest of it. There's still half a season left. Okay, there's still 9 bleeping games left.
And how do you feel about Christmas then?
you got to learn.
Do you expect you to get coal in your stocking this year? Is basically what you're telling us, because at this point, that's where I'm at until somebody gets tough and fights somebody.
Actually don't care. I actually don't care. I want to see individual performances. I want to see how they function within a team standpoint. I really don't care about the wins and the losses.
Yeah.
I want to see this team, to what you said at the very beginning, get better, fight to get better, both individually and collectively, so that the Steelers management team, such as it is after this season, can look at it and go, all right, how about this guy? He really stepped up when we gave him a chance. Or this one, hey, I'm sorry, we gave him all kinds of chances. He's out. What about your left side of the offensive line?
Oh.
Do you just say, oh, they're young, and therefore they're just going to get better? No, they might not. They might not.
They might not. We'll talk about that one tomorrow also. I like that conversation.
O-line, I know you do.
No, just in general, just the entire draft pick and guys starting, young guy. We'll get into that tomorrow. Also, I'm hijacking the Hey Moan for today too. So whenever we come back, it's a one-on-one segment of Hey Moan.
Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show, and the only segment that matters. It's the Hey Moan segment, brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite item at the Get-Go Cafe and Market app today. Better believe it. And I understand there's a Hey Moan segment from outside the norm.
It is, man. I thought it was fitting for a lot of different reasons, man. Hey, Moan, on social media, there's a couple of screenshots of guys liking a post of a former player on the team that just embarrassed you on Sunday. Do you, as a current player, continue to like that post of your team quarterback getting smashed in the face and being okay with that? Oh, great question.
And just so I can add a little context, this was on Javon Hargrave's Instagram. And Javon made the sack of Kenny Pickett, and there were current teammates, including Deontay Johnson, but not limited to, and former, who liked the post. And and I will also and Chooks, who was on the field for it. And I'll also add that Javon was, of course, a popular and productive player with the Steelers while he was here. And
yes, he was.
And your answer is?
It has to be okay, because this is the era we're in. Everything is connectivity when it comes down to this group of players, this era of players that we have. Yes, there are a few old school guys out there that don't care about the likes and the looks and what the perception is of them being in the position of liking a post of your quarterback getting his head knocked backwards and falling to the ground to a former Steeler. This happens. This happened with, I think, Terrell Edmonds. Remember when he ended up retweeting something or liking something that was contrarian to what Ben had going on or something? Maybe it wasn't Terrell. It was a defensive player that liked the post that had something that I think that was anti-Ben. And at that point, I had a conversation with Ben. I was like, in this era, they just like anything, because those likes get the algorithm to their phone, their social media accounts and stuff like that. This sack picture, though, having guys that are on that OL like it, there's also staff that liked it because Javon is a Steeler. Say what you want to about him. I don't think nobody in that locker room wanted Hargraves to leave whatsoever. He is a Steeler. Cam is a guy that loves that guy. Everybody in that locker room, if you know Hargraves, you look at him and say, man, that's my guy. I know he got on another jersey, but that's my brother, man. And looking at how that actually happened this past week, I don't think it was anti-Steeler. I don't think it was anti-Kenny Pickett. It was just this day and age, guys scroll, double tap. Probably didn't even read the caption or even look through the pictures. Would I have liked something like this? I don't know. I'd have probably scrolled through. But I hadn't been in that situation
hang on.
as a current player.
I got to jump in.
Go ahead.
Because Is this? I'm looking at this right now, and it says liked by Ramon Foster.
I said as a current player.
Okay, I just wanted because I don't want anybody else coming back at you afterward. Hey, Ramon.
Yeah.
You said, okay.
And I'll say this player, too.
You know, and respected, and boy, have you made this clear for years. Loved Javon Hargrave.
Yes.
And really, you were one of those that really wished that he had not left. You had to compete against him in practice and felt like he was a big, burgeoning part of that defense, and that has been proven true. The other thing that's worth pointing out here, again, for anybody who doesn't look at this sort of thing on Instagram or whatever else here, there were actually 5 images. This was one of the 5, but it was the first one. It's the one that you see when you first open. And yes, there were current players that liked it.
Yes, current players, offensively and defensively. I'm a fan of Javon Hargraves. He got me better in practice. I got him better in practice. We saw each other. We dap it up and hug it out. From a fan's perspective, I tell you guys all the time, and I get it because I'm on the fan side now. I hear things. I see things. I know how this works now in retirement. You don't want to see that fraternizing. It looks weak. It looks cheap. It looks unloyal. I fully understand all of that. But again, I tell you guys as a player, even though the Ravens, we hate them on the field, it's not a, hey, I want to just, throw you over a bridge and hope you survive type of mindset. No, guys are actually friends. Guys actually respect one another. That first picture, I'm sure Javon did that as a, look what you guys miss out as a Steelers organization. But just in general, players don't take it the exact same way. Now, I'll say this too, on that play, as far as an offensive lineman like it, Chooks actually has this guy facing the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look back at the picture, his guy has his face in the dirt. So, of course, he probably liked it. Like, this is a cool picture for me. I'm dogging his teammate. So,
Chooks sealed his block there. That's for sure.
Not me. You know, that's basically what, you sacked him, but not me. So, I just had to explain that because I saw it trending and I saw it getting real ugly as far as what was said about the guys. DK, you know how the locker rooms are. I'm sure you've been in opposing locker rooms and guys like, man, that's my guy.
I know. I also see this though, and here's the one elephant that's still sitting in the room here with this.
Go ahead.
And I'm not saying this to make excuses for guys or whatever, but and I know guys will grab their phones after the game. They'll open up the phone and there's so much. There's texts coming in. There's all kinds of, especially if you have your alerts on between Twitter, and a lot of the NFL is on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you just keep getting stuff. And you know what ends up happening?
What?
You get the stream and you start doing this. You just start doing the serial liking.
Yeah.
Don't, the whole way down. And there's no thought put into it. No, but now, again, I'm not making an excuse, but I'll bet that that's at least an explanation for a couple of them.
As a current player, offensive lineman, I probably wouldn't have. But again, on that one particular play, Chooks probably got a plus.
He probably did. Moan, let's do this again tomorrow.
It's so much, DK.
I know.
So much.
I know. It's where we are.
Yeah.